Yeah, I'm Professor Dr. Vivek Gupta from Delhi Apollo Hospital and also Chairman of Indo-European Conclaves. I'm sitting here with CSI TV on 4th of December 2021 afternoon. So Cardiological Society of India has been a very important benchmark cardiology conference which happens every year, and during the 2 years this is the first time we are having a hybrid meeting. So I'm going to talk about the transcatheter aortic valve implantation. This has been my favorite topic, especially because I have worked with Professor Alan Kribbier, father of TAVI. We call it TAVI, transcatheter aortic valve implantation, TAVI. Americans call it transcatheter aortic valve replacement, which is TAVR. They call it tower, like Eiffel Tower. So it's not tower, it's TAVI. This is what I feel, because you are implanting a valve rather than replacing the valve. So I worked with Professor Alan Kribbier, who is the father of TAVI, from 1996 to 1998. So let me give you a little historical background of this procedure, which is now, it has come from bedside to bedside. It is a common procedure, not only in the whole world, in America and France and European countries, but also in India. But this has changed the whole system. Like Grundsik is the father of angioplasty because he did the first angioplasty in 1977. A fellow working in Germany, we did the first angioplasty, balloon angioplasty, and that gave a way for the coronary angioplasty which we are doing today. Similarly, Dr. Alan Kribbier did the first aortic valve implantation April 16, first in man, 2002. It has been more than 19 years since the first case was done by him. Why I historically want to remember, because when I was working with him in Rouen Hospital Charles Nicolle, 1996 to 98, this idea was in his mind. Once he was driving a car and I was sitting on the left side, because you see there's a left-hand drive, so I was sitting on the right side, he was driving on the left side. So he was said, I have a project in my mind. I said, what? He said, the project is replacing the aortic valve or putting a new valve without opening the chest. I was just confused how it can be possible. He said, this project is on and I will take you to the animal experimentation. So I visited few of the labs, animal labs also with him in Paris, where he was to do in the sheep and animal models, trying to put this valve, designing the valve. Let me tell you one more thing very historically. When he was trying to find a sponsor company, when you have an innovative idea, when somebody has an innovative idea, and I'm thankful to PK Ashokan who's sitting with me, my friend from Calicut Fatima Hospital, when you have an innovative idea, you need a sponsoring company. So when he was looking for the company, he could not, Medtronic refused. Medtronic said, Edwards said that this is the most silly idea ever heard of. They rejected the whole concept by Alan Kribbier that this is the most silly idea and please forget about it. Then they found a small company which was, I forget the name, and with the help of that company they started innovating this idea. So the first in-man implantation was done in April 16, 2002, and before that lot of animal experimentation went behind. Of course, when they were earlier implanting this valve, they were doing from the femoral vein, and they were going from the femoral vein to the, of course, the right side of the heart, transeptal catheter, transeptal going approach, and then from the left atrium to left ventricle and then to the aorta. It was a retrograde approach, not an antegrade approach which we are doing it. Later on, he also changed from the retrograde to antegrade approach, that means going from the femoral artery into the left ventricle, aorta, ascending aorta, and implanting the valve inside as you do balloon valvoplasty. Let me tell you one thing. The father of aortic balloon valvoplasty is also Dr. Alan Kribbier. He did that in 1986, and the journal which published his initial series of doing the aortic balloon valvoplasty was the New England Journal of Medicine. That was 1986. The whole world watched, because mitral valve valvoplasty was simpler. When you are inflating a balloon inside the aortic valve, you are not only blocking the coronary arteries, but you are blocking the whole system, the whole outflow from the aorta, from the heart. And that it has to be very tricky and very quick, because otherwise the patient can crash to the table. So he did those for those patients who for the bridge for aortic valve replacement, because surgical aortic valve replacement was always being one of the standard therapy of care for severe aortic valve stenosis. One thing I forgot to mention, that this therapy is basically for severe aortic valve stenosis. There are four valves. Most important is aortic valve, then we have mitral valve, and on the right side we have tricuspid and pulmonary valve. So this is for the treatment of the severe aortic valve stenosis. So coming back to the TAVI, so initially They did about 16 cases in France from 2002 onwards, and then it spread into other countries of Europe, and they were all doing the retrograde approach, that means going from the femoral vein, and then it was initially their own, this was known as Cribier valve. This was actually known as Cribier valve. Then Edward Company, which has rejected the whole idea, they actually bought the whole concept, and the patent went off from Dr. Cribier and to the Edward, and they started developing more and more refined way, because finally it is the this device industry or company which has to really make the propagation of any device. So Edward Company, and then they initially known as Cribier Edward valve. So initially it was Cribier valve, that was Cribier Edward valve, and then it became the Sapien valve, which was named by the Edward Company. Now from that onwards, that there have been so many trials which I don't want to mention, but the most important trial which made the history was Partner trial. Partner 1, 2 and 3. And this was in collaboration with Martin Leon, which was the course director of TCT conference in America and USA in Washington. So this was actually in collaboration with Martin Leon and Alan Cribier. They did the Partner trials all over Europe and all over many centers of America. And initially Part 1 won, and then Partner 2 and then Partner 3. So initially Partner 1 confirmed that this TAVI is as good as surgical aortic valve replacement. Partner 2 confirmed that TAVI is superior to surgical valve replacement in high-risk patients. And Partner 3 confirmed that TAVI is as good or maybe superior to surgical aortic valve replacement even in low-risk patients. Initially, this TAVI was being performed only in high-risk patients, and the patients who were on low risk was subjected to surgical open heart surgery program. So now today, as of today, I was just finding out the figures. Till last year, about more than 450,000 patients have been done worldwide. Starting from the first case in 2002, more than 450,000 cases have been done worldwide, and this is exponentially. Why it is important? Why I'm talking about this procedure? This is making the life much easier for the patients, because finally in elderly patients, severe aortic stenosis is normally a disease of elderly patients because of calcific valve or because of bicuspid aortic valve. So these patients are having a high surgical risk. That means 2 to 5% of risk, or maybe sometimes 10% of the risk is there in the surgical aortic valve replacement, especially if somebody has comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, or coexisting coronary artery blockages, or previous history of a stroke and like that. If somebody has got a nephropathy and these patients are ineligible and therefore ineligible for surgical aortic valve replacement, and they die very soon. Because once you are diagnosed with severe aortic stenosis, the lifespan is not more than 2 to 5 years, or maybe less than that, depending upon the valve. You have to replace the valve. And replacement is not possible because of surgical risk, and therefore one has to do a transcatheter aortic valve implantation. So I salute Dr. Alan Cribier, who's my teacher and mentor, and Dr. Ashokan, who's sitting here right away, is actually knowing him very well. We did Indo-European conclaves, Indo-European course on revascularization with Professor Alan Cribier. We did the first one in 2008, where he was physically present, and in many other conferences later on, London, Paris, Amsterdam, Rome, and Zurich. ICR has evolved along with many Indian collaborators, and of course the top person is Dr. P.K. Ashokan from Fatima Hospital, Calicut, Kerala. So let me just summarize. Transcatheter aortic valve implantation, more than 450,000 patients have been done worldwide till now. Now this is simpler technique. Earlier it was a retrograde technique, now it's an antegrade approach. The catheter size has come down, the valve size has come down, the patient selection is easier, but still Edward Company is getting this procedure done under their own supervision medical team. The other valve, giving a little more about technical details, there are two types of valve. One is balloon expandable, something like coronary stent, where you have balloon, on top of that there is a wrap of the valve, you inflate the balloon, the stent is deployed, and stent or valve is deployed and take out the balloon. This is known as balloon expandable, which is a standard which Dr. Cribier developed. This was done, this is with the Edward Sapien valve. The other technology which has come up is a self-expanding valve, and many companies have come up. The most important is the core valve, now Evolute 3, which has come up from the Medtronic company. I again tell you that Medtronic was also one of the companies which refused the idea proposed by Dr. Alan Cribier in just around 2000, year 1999. So, the self-expanding valves, the chances of permanent pacemaker implantation is a little higher. There are few complications which are there, but in the expert hands, I just want to summarize and finalize by saying that first case from India was done through my, I took the patient to Rouen, that was November 2013. Sorry, November 2011, when we took one patient from India, flying from India, from New Delhi. We did the initial workup, CT scan of the heart, and of course, checking the size of the femoral artery. And then we took him and flew to Rouen. The total procedure time, I was scrubbed with Dr. Crevier, was 40 minutes. Total procedure time was 40 minutes, and there was no sedation. Only small sedation, and there was no general anesthesia. It was just like angioplasty, which we do and stenting. Lot of American hospitals are using general anesthesia and transesophageal echocardiography. But Dr. Crevier is still propagating a conscious sedation and no TOE, no transesophageal echocardiography. And this all depends upon the expertise and training. But if the people who are not very much, they have not done many cases, it is better to do general anesthesia and transesophageal echography to find out the sizing, to find out the placement of the valve, because it's very tricky. You have just the coronary arteries and you have to place just away from the coronary arteries. You cannot occlude the coronary artery. This is a trick which is required. Thank you very much for watching this TSI TV. I was just trying to give you some historical aspect and my friendship with Professor Alan Crevier, who is the father of TAVI, and is now a common technique in most of the countries of the world. In India also, we are doing many cases. But this is a really boon to the patients of severe aortic stenosis who otherwise would die if valve cannot be replaced. Thank you, Professor Dr. Vigata from Delhi Apollo Hospital, and thank you CSI TV for giving me this opportunity